So on September 20th, we're going to be coming up against Shadow Groudon. This is going to be a Pokemon that will be available over raid weekends, and we want to know, how do you defeat him? How many trainers do you need? And is he worth really getting? And to be honest, to answer the question, I think Groudon is always going to be a phenomenal Pokemon to be able to get. When we see legendary Shadow Pokemon, they are always a must. Now, obviously, you won't be able to primal this version, but say you do manage to get a 98% and you've not quite got a hundo, especially in a primal form, then there's a potential that you might want to do that. Realistically, the Shadow is always going to be more worth it. And in terms of kind of move sets, we've got Mudshot. You can buy battle passes and even coins from 100 all the way up to 58,000. There's also items and boosted available on Pokemon Go. When it comes to Pokemon Pocket, there's Pokegold that you can buy from the site, and also items such as trade-in from any stars from 1 all the way up to 3, and potentially more in the future. Eldorado also offer money back guarantee and also 24/7 live support. If you need any further recommendations, Trustpilot have plenty of Eldorado reviews that you can scan through and just check that this site is for you. And before you check out, make sure that you use the code POKEJT before you check out for 5% off your orders. The blades, we then have Dragon Tail, Earthquake, Solar Beam, kind of Fire Blast, all of the good stuff going through. It does have a massive HP, it has a massive attack, and defense is pretty decent across the board as well. So it will require, I believe, around about 4 to 5 trainers at a good level. And then as you go forward with more trainers, it should get a little bit easier. Naturally, a remote raid is going to be needed if you've not got a group around with you. Now, obviously, you can't put it in a gym, that's fair enough. And obviously, you can't necessarily put it in any sort of mega form or primal form. In terms of what we see on the Master League, it is an A+ if you really wanted to. And then you can kind of see the different CPs as we go forward. So if we are looking at the best counters for it, we're obviously going to be looking predominantly at the primals and megas, but you're only allowed 1 in there in general, so you are going to get the best counter in there, which is going to be the primal Kyogre. That is always going to be a fan favorite, very easy to kind of announce with this. Then next up to that, you've kind of got your Skyform Shaman if you've managed to rock that up a little bit, but realistically it's going to be very, very niche. Being a mythical Pokemon, I can't imagine there's going to be a great amount of people running around with a maxed out Shaman, and even then you'd have had to have got a very good CP one or a good IV one prior to this. So realistically, I'll be looking at a Primal Kyogre, a Mega Ray, Mega Sceptile, or Mega Swampert just to kind of get the ball rolling. If you've been doing your shadow raids, I don't even know if Kyogre's been out that much, to be honest, but I'd imagine you might have been able to get a couple of shadow Kyogres by now. If obviously you haven't and shadows are a little bit more kind of down the street, then we kind of go a bit further down. Zarude, if you've managed to get a decent one of that. Being mythical, I'm not going to put too much kind of emphasis on that one. We do have the Kyrums as well, but naturally, again, not necessarily everybody's going to give them, and I don't even know if that Kyurem is available yet, to be fair. But then we do have the Shadow Gyarados. This is where them kind of level 50s really come into hand. Instead of going for your normal hundos, you're looking at your shadows. Realistically, we're looking at more popular Shadow Gyarados, Shadow Salamence. Maybe if we've got a Tangrowth in there as well, would always be fantastic. But an easy one that a lot of people would have is going to be a normal Kyogre and a normal Rayquaza. Now obviously we are going with Waterfall or Origin Pulse versus Dragon Tail and Dragon Ascend. Obviously Rayquaza and Kyogre have been featured in many raids, so you must have at least 1 or 2 of these that could be around. We do have the Primal Groudon coming in at 22, which is always interesting. Rillaboom as well coming in at 23, which is just crazy. And a lot of people have probably got themselves up on their Crown Shield Zamazenta with the Ice Fang and also the Bash. That's going to be one that could be utilized. So realistically, if I was looking at these, I think if you're choosing a Primal or obviously a Mega, you've got either 1 or 2 Shadow Kyogres, even normal Kyogres. You're then looking at a Shadow Salamence and Gyarados, maybe then a cheeky Ray, and that would probably be enough. If you've not necessarily got multiple legendaries in there, Rillaboom, a Crown Shield, Zamazenta could be quite good. Eternatus, I must admit, a lot of people might have to a certain level at this point because of obviously that weekend. But then failing that, you're looking at your Chestnut or obviously your Gyarados to kind of finish off the job. If everybody's got a solid amount of that, you can see here that we've got the group size. So we're seeing that 3 trainers probably not really possible. 4 is kind of in the red, 4 to 6, which is going to be kind of you need level 50. You need your top end really players. It says the optimal amount of players is going to be 6 to 10, and then obviously very easy with 11 plus. If you go all the way to 40, realistically, it should be pretty comfortable. It's probably impossible with less than 4 trainers. I offer that as a challenge. I've seen some people do some incredible stuff with obviously kind of backing out with different kind of exploits of kind of using a primal Kyogre, going out, reviving and coming back in to see if that is really worth it or not. But naturally, you're going to be looking realistically anywhere between, I'd say, 8 to 10 players at most, but you can get it done with 7 as well. And then if you do manage to get the 11 plus, you should be pretty golden. We're going for no weather boost from 2188 to 2351, and then with sunny weather boost you're looking at 2736 or 2939 as your CP caps. And obviously when it comes to the Shadow Groudon, he's going to be a very, very strong attacker when it comes to raiding later on as well. So this could be a time for you to be able to go around with some friends and really manage to get ourselves a pretty top end sort of Pokemon to do the damage of what a Shadow Kyogre can do. As you can see, being in number 7, I can imagine Groudon's going to be in a lot of other people's ones as well. I'm imagining if we're going to Sceptile, it could be an interesting one, but naturally there's going to be plenty of ones that you can go into that we can see a lot of Shadow on this Groudon. I don't know if it's even updated into this list. But that's going to be everything for Groudon today. Let me know down below if you're managing to get some, or have you already got a Groudon that you've been working on. Leave it down below, and I'll catch you all for the next one. Peace.